The value of the Canadian dollar is now at its lowest point in more than 4 years, and that could have a big impact on consumers and manufacturers. Kristiaan Yeo is at the Toronto Stock Exchange with all the details. Kristiaan, some tough times for the loonie.
Yes, Michelle, since Friday's jobs report, the Canadian dollar, which we call affectionately the loonie, has tanked. It's currently at 91 US cents to the Canadian dollar. Now, for about 3 years, it was at parity. That's like for like. 1 Canadian dollar would get Canadians 1 American dollar, and that was great for cross-border shoppers. Historically, though, the Canadian dollar has always tended to trade a little bit below the American counterpart, at sometimes as low as 85 cents to the dollar, while shoppers that like to go to the States to do their shopping are dreading a return of those old days. Some here in Canada are rubbing their hands at the prospect.
The Canadian dollar, known affectionately here as the loonie, has sat at near parity with the US dollar for more than 3 years. There were times when it even surpassed the greenback. Cross-border shopping became a national pastime as Canadians in the thousands flocked across the US border to spend their strong dollars. But the loonie fell heavily last week. Disappointing job numbers pushed Canada's dollar to its lowest level in more than 4 years, worth little more than 90 US cents. It's enough of a change for most Canadians to reconsider their overseas spending.
We're heading off to Florida next week for our annual vacation, so dropping loonie means our vacation is going to cost us that much more.
I do go a few times a year, so for flights specifically, I'm glad that I've got most of my flights booked now.
I do cross-border shopping every now and then, and I want to make sure that the loonie is high enough so that it would be worth my while going across the border to do my shopping.
What's bad for consumers, though, is good for producers. The strong loonie made Canadian goods more expensive to foreign buyers, hurting Canada's competitiveness. A weaker Canadian dollar means Canadian goods become more affordable, and the hope is more attractive.
For Canada, for the manufacturing base, it really does help the exporter. The exporter combined with a U.S. recovery that's fairly strong and a weak Canadian dollar, that's a powerful combination for exporters. So that's very good news for manufacturing in Canada.
So although this is the most dramatic change to the value of the Canadian dollar in about 5 years, the government here is anything but concerned. It says that the current rate offers remarkable opportunity to Canadian manufacturers. While that is good news for them, shoppers, on the other hand, are dreading the prospect, Michelle.
Yeah, Kristiaan, bad news for shoppers, but as you say, good news for manufacturers. So what exactly does the government mean by remarkable opportunities? Quantify that for us a little more.
What it means is it gives manufacturers here a chance to return Canada to becoming a net exporter. That means selling more items to the world than it's buying in. This country needs to be a net exporter because it's resource rich and it doesn't have the population that it would need to sustain self-sufficiency. So it's important that this country sells to the world. Strong loonie meant that goods here cost a lot for other countries to buy in, especially America, and that's our biggest customer by far. With a weaker loonie, it means that the American money that we get paid for our goods is worth more over here. That gives companies here leeway, some margins to offer discounts to American customers, makes us more attractive. So it's great news for them. On the flip side, it means that Canadian shoppers, they can't get the bargains that they once did across the border. But then again, Michelle, that's great for Canadian retailers. It means that we're more likely to spend money here in Canadian retail outlets. That means more money in our economy. So two sides to the coin, Michelle, depending on whether you're a shopper or a producer.
And you know, Kristiaan, it's good news if you're an overseas shopper in Canada because you get more bang for your buck or for your loonie, as the case may be.